Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on something that happens in the shadows of the global economy. We're talking about how Iran uses a secret fleet of ships to get its oil, its most valuable resource, out to the world, all while defying some of the toughest sanctions on the planet.
Okay, to really get what's going on here, you have to start with this number. Iran is sitting on the third largest proven oil reserves in the world. We're talking 209 billion barrels. Now, to put that into perspective, that is enough oil to supply the entire planet for more than 2 years. So this isn't just a resource. It's a massive source of potential power and, of course, wealth.
So that leads to a huge question, right? If you're sitting on all that oil, why is Iran's economy always struggling? And how on earth did they manage to build a secret system to get that oil out to the rest of us?
Well, the heart of Iran's problem is this. It's an oil giant that's been trapped. Imagine having a massive fortune locked away in a bank, but someone else is holding the key. That is pretty much the situation Iran finds itself in, all thanks to geopolitics.
And what's really fascinating here is that Iran isn't just selling this stuff, it's using a ton of it at home. It's actually the biggest energy consumer in the entire Middle East. This means that selling oil isn't just, a nice bonus. It's absolutely critical to fund their government and keep the country running.
So, if selling oil is so critical, what's stopping them? Well, this is where we get to the real heart of the issue, this powerful economic weapon called sanctions, which have basically put Iran's oil industry in a straitjacket and tried to turn off the taps completely.
And as you can see from this timeline, the pressure on Iran has just been ratcheting up and up. It got really intense back in 2018 when the US pulled out of the nuclear deal. And by 2024, the sanctions weren't just on the oil itself, but on the whole shebang, the ships, the ports, even the refineries that would dare to buy it.
And what's so important to understand is that this is way more than just a sales ban. It's more like a total economic quarantine. It cuts Iran off from the money, the technology, and all the shipping networks you need to be a modern oil powerhouse. Essentially, the world tried to just turn off the flow.
But here's the thing. When you're facing economic disaster, you don't just give up. Iran developed this incredibly sophisticated secret solution to keep the oil moving. A ghost armada, which is also known as a shadow fleet.
And this is how they do it. It seriously sounds like something straight out of a spy movie. First, they make it almost impossible to know who even owns a ship by using shell companies and constantly changing the flag it's sailing under. Then the ship just goes dark. It literally turns off its tracking signal and disappears. Out in the open ocean, it meets up with another tanker and does a ship-to-ship transfer. And to complete the illusion, that oil is often mixed with oil from other places and given fake paperwork saying it came from somewhere else entirely.
And you gotta know, this isn't just some commercial operation. As this quote points out, a very, very powerful part of the Iranian state, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, is heavily involved in this. So for them, this isn't just about making money for the country. It's a strategic tool to fund their own operations all over the Middle East.
But these secret ship maneuvers, this ghost fleet, that's not the only part of the story. Iran is also playing the long game. They're building a massive project to solve a geographic problem that's been a major weakness for decades.
So the sanctions completely rewired who Iran sells its oil to. Before 2018, they had customers all over Europe and Asia. But now, almost all of their oil, we're talking nearly 90%, goes to one country, China, which is more than happy to buy it at a discount.
But even with a huge customer like China, there is still one massive problem. And you can see it right here on this map. Pretty much all of Iran's oil, whether it's sold openly or in secret, has to pass through this one tiny, vulnerable waterway, the Strait of Hormuz.
And this is Iran's big play. They're building a massive pipeline, over 1,000 kilometers long, to carry their oil straight across the country. This is a game changer because it'll let them ship their oil from a brand new port that completely bypasses the risky Strait of Hormuz.
Okay, so we've seen how Iran is trying to get around the Strait of Hormuz, but why is this one little stretch of water so important? Why should we care? Well, it turns out it's not just a big deal for Iran, it is a very big deal for all of us.
It all comes down to one simple, staggering number, 20%. A fifth of the world's daily oil supply passes through this single, narrow strait. It's not just a waterway. It's basically the jugular vein of the global energy system.
And because so much oil flows through there, even the hint of trouble can send the global markets into a complete panic. This chart shows what experts think could happen in a conflict scenario. The price of oil could pretty much double, almost overnight.
And that price spike isn't just a number you see on the news. It hits you, directly, in the wallet. It means you're paying more at the gas pump. The stuff you buy online costs more to ship, and even your groceries get more expensive. It's a perfect recipe for inflation that affects absolutely everyone.
So what we're left with is this incredibly delicate situation. The world's entire energy supply is all connected, but it's balanced on a knife's edge, and a huge part of that balancing act is happening right here, in this one spot.
And this really gets to the core of the whole thing. For Iran, that shadow fleet is a lifeline. It's keeping their economy afloat. But for the rest of the world, this secret system, and the official one for that matter, all depend on keeping the peace in one of the most unstable places on Earth. So one country's solution has become a massive risk for everyone else.
Which leaves us with a final, pretty unsettling question. In a world where we need more and more energy, and geopolitical conflicts are always simmering, how long can this delicate, high-stakes balancing act possibly last?